What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with my 5 best bets for week number 15 of the 2020 NFL season. We are doing something a little bit different here in week 15. I'm going to give you, free of charge, my teaser of the week at the end of the video. So stick around for my teaser of the week, a new segment inside the 5 best bets here on the Bottom Line View. Before I give you my top 5 bets versus the spread in the NFL for week 15, I do want to say something, okay? These videos are made for you to gather information. This is my opinion. These are the games that I personally like this week, that I personally will be betting on this week. It doesn't mean you need to bet on them, but let me just say, these videos that I make are based on the information. It's not about the pick. I'm giving you the information, the reasoning behind my bets. That is why I make these videos. It's not just about the pick. So if you're just interested in the pick, find a shorter video. Go elsewhere. We do not need you here. Thank you. Because for some reason, last week, despite me giving you good weeks of winnings, everybody's mad in the comments. Bro, relax. I'm here to give you the information. This isn't just about the pick. All right, with that being said, before I give you my top 5 bets and the teaser of the week this week, make sure you do spike that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the Bottom Line View for weekly NFL best bets. You can also get more of my bets and betting information on my Patreon if you subscribe. Starting at just $3 a month, you can get my weekly bets where I lay it out there for you, the bets that I'm making every week, as well as inside fantasy information, exclusive content on the Patreon. Or if you're just a fan of this channel and you're a subscriber and you appreciate my content, you can also donate to help me achieve my dream. All right, let's start off with the number 5 bet of the week, and that is, we're rolling with TB12 once again, baby. TB12 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -6 over the Atlanta Falcons, the NFC South rivals. The reason I place the Bucs -6 as the weakest of my 5 bets this week is because of the recent report that Donovan Smith has been put on the COVID list. Donovan Smith, the left tackle of the Bucs. We know how crucial pass protection is, protecting Tom Brady, keeping him upright. That's very crucial to the Bucs' success this season. And I do feel that that's given me a little bit of a question whether I should still lay this 6. But there are too many factors that I felt I should still be betting on this game. I still feel strongly about this game. Let's start with this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 4-0-1 ATS against the spread as 6 to 7 point favorites this season. Pretty much whenever the Bucs are favored by a good chunk, a touchdown plus, they cover. Tampa Bay is a weird team. They're extremely talented. I would argue maybe the most talented roster in the NFL. So that being said, when they are just strictly more talented than the other team, and Vegas knows that, they cover. Now, when they play good teams, they don't seem to live up to the expectation. And I think a lot of that has to do with coaching. But where the talent is just so great and so overwhelming, they're able to just win that game and cover and help us win money. 7 out of their 8 wins, the Bucs, 7 out of their 8 wins, 6+ points. They don't just win games, they absolutely dominate the games that they win. That's why Tampa Bay is very confusing. They seem to lose to good teams by a field goal, or in the case of the Saints, get blown out, and then they just destroy every other team they play. So Atlanta is not the caliber of the Rams. They're not the caliber of the Saints. They're not the caliber of any of these elite teams. Atlanta is an average team at best. So the Bucs, keeping on that trend, should be able to cover and should be able to dominate this matchup. Julio Jones is out for Atlanta. Julio Jones is arguably the best receiver in football. And without him, Atlanta's not good, especially offensively, obviously. He's out. This means Calvin Ridley, more pressure on him to make plays. They don't really have great second, third, secondary options for Matt Ryan. It also hurts the offensive line, which already isn't that good, because now this allows a defensive coordinator to scheme up more pressure, not have to double Julio Jones. That means another guy in the box to defend the run. That means Carlton Davis, instead of covering Julio Jones, will be covering Calvin Ridley. And a team like Tampa Bay, who just has one really good corner and not two really good corners, can focus on taking away Ridley and then pressuring Matt Ryan without having to worry about Julio Jones. But this is more about Atlanta than it is about what Tampa could possibly do without Julio on the field, because Atlanta is not good without Julio. They are 1-3 this season without Julio Jones. Matt Ryan has struggled without him, not throwing over 230 yards, guys. It's 2020. 230 yards is very doable for any quarterback in this league. Without Julio, Matt Ryan struggles. He has not thrown over 230 yards, and that's versus some not so great defenses. They failed to score above 20 points, basically, versus the Chargers, versus the Saints twice. These are recent games that they played versus good defensive lines. What does Tampa have? A really feisty pass rushing unit that can get after the quarterback and will dominate their matchup versus Atlanta's undermanned offensive line, who is also going to be missing one of their tackles in McGarry. No Julio, no McGarry, more pass rush, less focus and coverage for Tampa Bay. They should dominate that matchup. Matt Ryan has struggled. He's throwing picks left and right without Julio. Actually, 3 touchdowns to 6 picks in games without Jones on the field. I really think that the way that Atlanta would compete in this game is through passing the ball. And without Julio, they simply can't do that as well. Jamel Dean will also be back in the fold for the secondary of Tampa Bay to add a layer of depth to that matchup. Now, Atlanta is also missing players on the defensive side of the football. They're missing starting nickel corner Denard and also starting free safety Ricardo Allen. So those two players will be essential, or would be essential, to defending Tom Brady. But they're missing. Now Tom Brady gets to feast on a secondary that was already the worst in allowing the most fantasy points to quarterbacks this season and 30th versus the pass this season. So Tom Brady, with all his weapons, will be able to torch an undermanned secondary with a bunch of basic coverages that they run in Atlanta, cover 3, cover 2, a lot of it. And Brady's too smart for a defense this simple. He'll sit back, he'll understand the coverage and torch it and just hit his target all day long. I'm taking Tampa Bay minus the 6. My number 4 best bet for week number 15 of the 2020 NFL season is the San Francisco 49ers minus a field goal, minus 3, over the Dallas Cowboys. I get it. I said I wouldn't be betting on the 49ers anymore. The Niners are just a complete mismatch for the Dallas Cowboys this week. I truly do not understand why this game is only a field goal. The Niners aren't a great team, guys. I get it. But Dallas is absolutely dreadful. I don't know if this is Vegas saying that there's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans after a big 30-7 win or whatever over Cincinnati of all teams, that a lot of these Cowboys fans are going to be pouring money on Dallas as the underdog. Are we looking at the matchup in this game? The 49ers are playing the worst run defense in the NFL. We're talking about Kyle Shanahan playing the worst run defense in the NFL. Dallas is ranked last, 32nd in yards and yards per attempt versus the run. That's one thing, okay? And that's a big deal, because that means Nick Mullins, he could pass it 20 times and the Niners might blow out the Cowboys. So less Nick Mullins is better for us when we're betting on the Niners. Trust me, because the only reason the San Francisco 49ers lost last week and I lost my bet was because Nick Mullins took it into his own hands and Washington's front disrupted him, made him pressure into fumbles and interceptions, and they lost because of 2 defensive scores against. That's why they lost. They lost 23-15 14 of those points essentially came from Washington's defense. On the flip side, San Francisco's defense did their job last week. A 27 passer rating for Alex Smith. And now they face a Dallas offense that's 30th in turnovers. They give the ball away like it's their day job. Fumbles from Zeke, interceptions from Dalton. Their offensive line's a mess. San Francisco's defense is pretty good. I expect Fred Warner to be there. They still have a pretty good secondary, a pretty good front to get after Andy Dalton, who is not a good quarterback, guys. I get it, the weapons are sexy, but if they lose the matchup on both the lines of scrimmage of both sides of the football, this game's going to be a complete blowout. Unless Nick Mullins blows this game should not be close. I understand the Niners are not a very good team, but this is a dreadful matchup for the Dallas Cowboys. Dreadful. We have to think about this, okay? San Francisco is not very good. Again, I'll say it again, but they lost to Green Bay, New Orleans, the Rams, the Bills, and now Washington in a row. Those are all playoff teams. Dallas is one of the 5 worst teams in football, and now they're only favored by 3 after weeks of being relatively close in spreads towards teams like Buffalo, who Vegas liked San Francisco over Buffalo. They lost, but you get it. San Francisco over Washington. Vegas likes San Francisco there, right? I don't know, man. I think this is a huge spot for the 49ers, and maybe even George Kittle will be back next week, which means I guess the Niners are fighting for something. The number 3 best bet for week number 15 of the 2020 NFL season is the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football, minus 13. I get it, big spread, I get it, but they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals. What did I just say? The Dallas Cowboys, who I just talked about being absolutely terrible, beat Cincinnati 30-7, I think. That was the score, right? Cincinnati's offense has scored under 9 points per game since losing Joe Burrow, and now they play the best defense they've played in that stretch by far in the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They are totally outmatched on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Cincinnati's pass rush is 31st in sack percentage, 31st in adjusted sack rate. They are terrible at getting pressure after opposing quarterbacks. On the other side, Cincinnati's offensive line, we know how bad they are. We know how good Pittsburgh's pass rush is. With TJ Watt out there, with Hayward out there, with Tuitt out there. Are you kidding me? I don't even know if the Bengals are going to score 10 points. Like, based on what they've done recently, I don't know if they're going to score 6 points versus the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So then you look, okay, can the Steelers cover 13? I get it, it's a big number, but they could score 20, and realistically, they have a chance of covering this number. I really like it that it's below 14, believe it or not, because last time they played, Pittsburgh dominated the matchup, and actually Ben had one of his better games, maybe his best game of the season. He threw for 333 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They sacked Joe Burrow 4 times. They won that game 36-10. They beat them by a point differential of 26 points. And now they're only favored by half of that in this second matchup, playing Ryan Finley on Monday Night Football in a spot where the Steelers need a huge bounce back performance, need a momentum builder. This is not a statement game, but it's a game where Pittsburgh really needs to get back on track. And they need to show that they still are one of the supreme top dogs in the AFC. They've lost to Washington. They've lost to Buffalo 2 weeks in a row. They will not lose 3 games in a row with Big Ben and Mike Tomlin. And they will not even be close to losing this game because they will dominate this game and cover the 13 points. Under the bright lights, in prime time, Big Ben will have a big performance. The Steelers will cover. My number 2 bet for week number 15 of the 2020 NFL season is the Buffalo Bills, minus 5.5 over the Denver Broncos. I get it. Everybody's picking the Broncos, and I really have no idea why. I don't know if you guys have checked the injury report, for the Denver Broncos, like, check the injury report, because I understand that it's in Mile High. I get it, it's a Saturday. I get Buffalo just won the biggest game, I guess, of recent history. I don't even know what the word is, but that's not being fair to Buffalo. Buffalo is extremely well coached. They have a very good quarterback, and that's just assuming Buffalo is going to play like crap. Like, let's be honest. There is no reason the Broncos should be within 6 points in this game. If those factors, I get it, are there, 5.5, Buffalo is playing a team with no corners. The Denver Broncos have lost Bryce Callahan, have lost AJ Bouye, they lost Kevin Tolliver, they lost Duke Dawson last week. They're down 4 of their top 5 cornerbacks in a game versus Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and one of the best passing attacks in the NFL. Vic Fangio can be as good as he wants scheme-wise, but he is not containing such a dynamic quarterback like Josh Allen. Josh Allen has broken down some of the best defensive minds and defenses in the NFL this year by his ability to extend plays and make magic outside of the design. That is Josh Allen. He will do this again. I am not even worried that Buffalo will score 27 points in this game. Now the question is, will the Broncos keep up? I'm not sure if they can. Drew Lock is inconsistent, so I get it. You're relying on a quarterback that could be incredible. We've seen it before. He has moments where he's pretty awesome, but he also has moments where he might be the worst quarterback in the NFL, right? So you're relying on Drew Lock to make this game competitive. I'm not sure. The Buffalo Bills defense since the bye has been pretty good, and they've been pretty good versus far better offenses than the Broncos. Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Justin Herbert, and the Chargers. The Bills did very, very well versus all of those teams. And they allowed less than 90 rushing yards versus all of those teams. So the Broncos' ability to run the ball probably won't be there as much. I like this game a ton. I think this is the simple case of people overthinking things. The Bills are on a Saturday. It's basically a primetime game, and they're playing their best football of the season. That will continue in this game, and they will walk away with an easy victory at Mile High. And my number one bet of Week 15 of the 2020 NFL season is the Kansas City Chiefs minus a field goal at the New Orleans Saints. The Chiefs are the best team in football. I think most of us know this. The Saints are getting back their quarterback, which has a lot of people hyped and a lot of people thinking that they will win this game. I don't see it. This, although it is a Saints home game, is kind of like a Chiefs home game too. Now, why do I say that? The Chiefs are playing in a dome. The best offense in the NFL is playing on a fast track. The fastest offense, the biggest quick strike offense we've ever seen, is playing in a dome. Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes in a dome? They're going to score at least 30 points. I don't care who's out there. The defense doesn't matter. Defense is overrated in this game. It's overrated. The fact that people think the Saints are going to win this game, I believe, shows you that defense is overrated in this matchup. When looking and digging into this game, there is one key factor here. The New Orleans Saints will get back Drew Brees, but will be without Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers in the NFL, who is clutch, who is key to third down conversions, key to their red zone offense, and key to the success of Drew Brees. Through weeks 2 to 8, when Michael Thomas did not play, the Saints lost 2 of their 3 games. They lost to 2 good offenses, the Packers and the Raiders. They won 2 games in overtime versus the Chargers and the Bears, if I'm correct. And they never won a game in those 6 weeks by more than 1 score. They played Chicago, the Chargers, the Panthers, the Lions, They did not win by more than one score in any of those games. Breeze is a different quarterback without Michael Thomas, and defenses can play the Saints differently without Michael Thomas. Now, you might say, oh, Alvin Kamara becomes a bigger factor. Well, the Chiefs have a certain guy named the Honey Badger who might actually be a pretty good matchup for Alvin Kamara, especially considering that he won't have to cover Michael Thomas now in the slot. He's going to be covering Alvin Kamara out of the backfield, I guarantee you. And Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, is pretty good at defending pocket quarterbacks. The Chiefs are actually underrated versus the pass. Top 12 versus the pass this year. They have a decent secondary. They have Chris Jones, Frank Clark to get after the quarterback. And Spagnuolo has been really good at disrupting pocket passers like Tom Brady in the past, at getting interior rush, at disrupting their lanes to throw, and always knowing where they're going to go with the football. And sometimes even confusing a guy like Tom Brady, which could be the case also for Drew Brees, who, by the way, is coming off an injury, a pretty serious injury too. So we're relying on him to move the football consistently without his best target in this game. And Nick Easton, one of their guards, is also out, which is going to hurt their ability to block Chris Jones and to run the football with Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. I don't doubt that Sean Payton will find a way to move the ball, but to keep up to Patrick Mahomes is an entirely different thing. Are we so sure that the Saints defense is really as good as everybody is saying? They beat Nick Mullins. They beat Denver without a quarterback. They lost to Jalen Hurts. They beat Matt Ryan twice, who they seem to have their number because Matt Ryan's offensive line can't block. And then they beat Tampa Bay, who they also seem to have their number. But are we really going to say that any of those offenses are anywhere close to the level of the Chiefs? Yes, you might want to cheer for the underdog here, but this could be a statement game for Kansas City. This could be the game where they say, ooh, Super Bowl preview? Not so sure. We're going to beat you down. I think the Chiefs are going to put up 34 points, and I don't think the Saints without Michael Thomas will be able to keep up. So I will take the Chiefs to win this game and to cover the 3. Now for the teaser of Week 15. The first ever teaser of the week here on the Bottom Line View. Let's go to Saturday. Saturday football. I've loved it since, I believe, the Giants and Patriots in 2007, which was a Saturday night game. Remember that 16-0 game? Incredible game. Classic. Especially a young Mitch as a Patriots fan. A lot of fun. This Saturday, not as great of matchups, but we have teaser opportunities here. The Buffalo Bills, now minus 5.5, could be 6 depending on where you're at. I would tease that down 6 points. And then the other matchup, which is the Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers, probably at 8 or 8.5, depending on where you're looking to bet. I would tease the Packers down under a field goal if you can to make it Green Bay minus 2.5 and Buffalo plus a 0.5 point. So that would be my tease of the week. Buffalo and Green Bay on Saturday. So even if you don't like Buffalo minus the 6 or minus the 5.5, you can still tease them and have fun that way. Those are my best bets for week number 15 of the 2020 NFL season. If you enjoyed, don't forget to spike that like button and subscribe to the channel for more NFL best bets. It's Mitch. Good luck this week. Any questions you have, let me know in the comment section below. Peace.